All right, we are back here on the podcast. Talk about Super Bowl 55. Right back our run of football podcast of the month of January, early February. The game sucked, but as is tradition on the podcast, joining me today to recap the Super Bowl, the host of the Sharp Cheddar podcast, the great Joe D'Alizio is here. Joe, how are you?
Mike, I am doing well. Thank you so much, as always, for having me on the podcast. You know, I love being here.
Yeah, I love having you on here. It's become a tradition that we recap Super Bowls, and unfortunately, 2 of 3 that we've done have not been good.
Yeah, it's been a dud. Maybe it's because I keep being the guest for the post-Super Bowl episode. Maybe we've got to switch that up, get some more positive juju on the Just End the Suffering podcast. Maybe it's me. I'll take the blame.
I am not blaming you because last year we had a good game. I'm blaming CBS because both of the games that suck were on their network.
Well, that may have played an impact. That happens to be a coincidence. I'm not going to bash CBS here, but you may be onto something.
Maybe Tony Romo's unlucky. Maybe he shouldn't be near the Super Bowl.
Perhaps.
Yeah, because both of his. This is also the first time that Romo is the 2 games that Romo has done so far.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of over the whole Tony Romo in the booth thing. I think it was really cool and awesome to hear him when he first started. Now it's kind of gotten outplayed. I'm tired of him trying to outsmart, anticipate the next play. Yeah. The analysis isn't groundbreaking. I could do without Romo.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty crazy. And I do think with the Romo situation, I think for me, I got to focus on this actual broadcast a lot more because I don't know about you. My Super Bowl experience is basically, honestly, the first time I've watched the game at home in about 13 years. How about you?
Yeah, my Super Bowl experience, game day experience, as many like to call it, was obviously very different this time around. Very quiet. Spent it at home with my dad. It was kind of okay. Here's the one thing I did like about the low key. Not a lot of people having Super Bowl parties, etc. I was able to place an order for food the morning of. Now, granted, it was just 2 people. I'm not ordering a lot. But, I was able to get, 30 wings and some other apps in time. And I placed that order early in the morning. And, typically that's not something that you're able to do on under normal circumstances.
Yeah, that's definitely nice to be able to do that. And I think the other thing that was interesting for me is, I had talked to a friend after the game about this. He said, honestly, you got the party experience. The Super Bowl did not really feel like the Super Bowl. It felt like this, like a Monday Night Football game with extra food.
Yeah, I actually, that's a great way to put it. I also found myself checking in and out of the game a lot more. It could be because the game sucked and it was so lopsided, but I don't know. It felt like I was able to get off the couch way more than I would have any other Super Bowl year.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I was definitely drifting at points, especially once that game started to get out of hand in the second half. And I think for what they had to deal with the second crappy Super Bowl they've had in a row, CBS did a pretty good job with the broadcast.
Yeah, broadcast-wise, I thought it was great. I thought graphic-wise, it was great. Very sleek design. It wasn't distracting at all. And that's my thing. Sometimes we get so caught up in the technology that exists and what you can do graphic-wise. And I'm glad it was a sleek, non-distracting viewpoint. I also think, everyone now is taking a book out of Fox's broadcast in terms of the close-up and the high definition or whatever you want to call it, close-up shot that looks phenomenal and as if you were wearing VR glasses and you're on the field, basically. I mean, I wish I could watch an entire game from that view.
Yeah, that would be hell of expensive, but really cool.
I think that'd be amazing. Imagine even just a sideline camera that was on that feed an entire time, and you could watch it in that vantage point. I think that'd be pretty sick.
That would be too. And one thing that was not pretty sick was this game. There were a lot of issues with it. I want to start with the officiating because I don't know about you, but I felt like, yes, the Chiefs lost the game not because of the rest, but they certainly didn't help with some of those calls they're making in the second quarter.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think the officiating was horrible. It seemed very lopsided, but like you just mentioned, the Chiefs didn't lose that game because of officials. They were awful. We're not used to seeing this offense. Actually, we've never seen this offense not score a touchdown under Patrick Mahomes. This is a great example of it doesn't matter how talented you are, right? There's no doubt in my mind, in your mind, if you know anything about the game, Patrick Mahomes is a stud. He's a superstar, right? But at the end of the day, if you don't have an offensive line that could protect you, it doesn't matter how talented you are, you're not going to win the game. And that was the difference here. The fact that Tampa Bay was able to put so much pressure on Mahomes that it seemed like he was running for his life every single play. So, I mean, yeah, the officiating sucked. It was terrible. But at the same time, man, the Chiefs did not help themselves one bit.
Yeah, the Chiefs also could not stop guys like Rob Gronkowski or like some of the underneath targets that Tom Brady had. They were just moving up and down the field pretty much at will in that second drive. They put themselves in such a hole. The way that the defenses on Tampa was playing and combined with Mahomes having the toe injury to limit his mobility a bit, that definitely hurt.
And let's be honest. I mean, it's not like Tom Brady did anything spectacular, but he managed the game. He managed a game. He relied on. He didn't make turnovers. He didn't make mistakes. The defense did all the dirty work, but it was a good mix of pass and run for the Buccaneers that was able to get them down the field relatively easy.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think also the key to that game, as you mentioned, obviously the Tampa Bay defense, who the first time they played back in Week 12, Tyreek Hill was just still running for touchdowns in that game. He's still wide open in that game, but they made a big adjustment here. They shut him down. The offensive line took advantage of the two tackles being out and just went after Mahomes. What a game play for Todd Bowles.
Oh, it was phenomenal. Like you said, he made the adjustments, and he did everything in his power to make sure that Patrick Mahomes was uncomfortable, and that's the best way of describing his game on Sunday night. And the crazy part is, you watch Patrick Mahomes run around, right? And there were still times where he got the ball off, threw it off his black foot, where, man, it hit his own guys in the face, and they couldn't make plays. And if they make plays there, I mean, this game could have been a lot different. And then if you're Todd Bowles in that defense, you're sitting there with your hands up, saying, there's not much we could do at this point. But Todd Bowles really coached his team up, and I know a lot of people are posing the question, about Todd Bowles and the possibility of him becoming a head coach again sooner rather than later. But to me, it's like, I don't understand. I think there's a negative notion around guys who are just great coordinators who aren't great coaches. I mean, I don't think, Todd Bowles is a great defensive guy, a defensive guru. Why do we need to force the narrative that Todd Bowles should get a head coaching opportunity? I mean, yeah, we saw what he was with the Jets. And I mean, say what it is, the Jets are the Jets. Maybe in a different situation, he'll be a better head coach. But why leave something if you're great at it? And I think Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator, and he really coached his team up to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're seeing a lot of coaches who are not like as accomplished coordinators getting like second shots. Like Adam Gase got a second shot at the Jets he shouldn't have. His Todd Bowles, you can say, he went back to be a coordinator. Like he honed some skills under Bruce Arians, and maybe the Jets weren't the right fit for him. And I think like if you're a team like the Chargers has to deal with Patrick Mahomes twice a year, you just made a hire. I know you love Brandon Staley, but you probably just sit there and at least think in the back of your mind, like maybe we should have waited and give Todd Bowles more consideration for this job.
I mean, I don't think teams are not waiting and having that thought in the back of their mind. But also on the flip side, what is Todd Bowles' situation? Do we know that? Does the guy even want to be a head coach again? Maybe he's satisfied with what he is and what he's doing. And, again, he is satisfied with being a great defensive coordinator. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The hot hire, and I say that in parentheses because you can't see me right now, or the coach that everybody wanted is who?
Is Bieniemy, allegedly.
Okay, and now what is that conversation like after what we just saw?
Yeah, well, there's other reasons Bieniemy why he isn't getting hired too. I don't want to relitigate those right now. I think for me, I want to talk about where this game really turned the corner here, where we went from something that was could be competitive to where Tampa Bay took complete control. I think for me, I don't know if you agree with this. That drive right before the half, which Romo is, I'm not a big fan, did say that was the backbreaker at the time, which he gets credit for, because the drive where they had Kansas City pinning all those penalties, couple were questionable, couple of warrant. They had the touchdown to Antonio Brown. They get the touchdown right before the half. I feel like that's where the game sort of gets away from the Chiefs.
So that's a great point. I'll take it a step further. I think the beginning of the second half was a turning point. At that point, it's 21-6. KC starts the second half with the ball. A touchdown on that first drive changes the way that this game is played, could possibly change the outcome of this game, right? Pretty simple. But again, they settled for 3. What happens the ensuing drive for the Bucs? They score a touchdown. And I think that touchdown really cemented this game, saying, quite frankly, the Chiefs kept settling for 3 and couldn't punch it in, and Brady and company were scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, those are definitely backbreakers, and I think it's definitely a key point to that game. And basically, really is not much more to it. I think obviously the next question is obviously what this does for Tom Brady's legacy, because we heard end of the year, see how he does without Bill, and Bill has played his role, the architect of that team. And this year, I know it's 1 year, but strong point in the Brady column. Belichick's going 7-9, missing the playoffs, and Tom Brady goes to a new team in the middle of a pandemic, wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, honestly, though, I don't think this does anything for Brady's legacy. I mean, maybe it cements him as the greatest ever if you didn't already think he was the greatest ever, but I think he already earned that with 6 titles. I mean, a 7 just adds to it. Like you noted, I think if anything, this is more of a born-again moment for Tom Brady, like a fresh start, his first year without Belichick, and he's able to prove to everybody, like, hey, it was me, it was not Bill.
Yeah, I think that was definitely the thing that's definitely a motivating factor for him, because we saw what happened to Bill, because like the Patriots just couldn't get out of their own way points this year. They missed the playoffs miserably, but Tom Brady, like I think the thing it's also the stats that sort of jump out is obviously like he on his own now has won more Super Bowls than any franchise in the league, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible. And the thing that's even more incredible is like, when is it going to stop? When is he going to slow down? I mean, here's a guy who threw 50 touchdowns this season.
Yeah. 40
in the regular season, 10 in the postseason. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's accomplished and what he continues to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in 2013, he said, I want to play till I'm 45. We all laughed, and now he's 2 years away from him, and you can say he might play till 50.
And not for nothing. I mean, he really, when he was at the podium last night, had no problem answering, we'll be back next year.
Yeah, like he's because unlike some of the other guys, I feel like he just loves to play football, and like he's like doing like 150%, whatever it takes, make sure he can still play football.
Yeah, and you know what? And, more power to him. Do I have Brady fatigue? Yes, but that doesn't mean I don't respect the athlete and the competitor and the winner that he is. There's a big difference. There's a lot of people who are just tired of seeing him winning and want him gone. And then there's people that, just respect everything that he's doing. And he's the ultimate competitor in my mind.
Yeah, and as right now, they've won. They're going to have some sort of probably socially distanced parade. We'll see next year. What do you think happens? Can they repeat?
Why not? Yep. If Tom Brady's coming back, why not? I think the answer is that simple.
Yeah.
I'm sure if there's other players, veterans in the league, I don't know what the cap situation is, so I can't speak about that for the Buccaneers. But how many of these older guys, Gronk, Antonio Brown, LaShawn McCoy, Leonard Fournette, like they wanted rings. They went to Tampa Bay and they got it done. You don't think more people would kind of want to take a few dollars less to have that opportunity to compete? I think it could happen. Why not?
Yeah, I think the only thing to argue against is that it's just so hard to do. I mean, we've gone almost 20 years without having a repeat champion. That would be my biggest argument against it.
Yeah, well, if there's one person who knows how to repeat as a champion, it's Tom Brady. He's done it before. Yeah, he's the last one to do it.
Yeah, he is the last one to do it. And I still can't believe it's been that long. I was so convinced the Chiefs were going to do it because I think in our Pick-a-Palooza on the podcast thing, I think 15 to 17 people picked the Chiefs to win, and I was not in that group. I did too, so 16 of 18.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I go back to when I said this on the Sharp Cheddar podcast. My heart says Patrick Mahomes because I want to see something new. I mean, that's just the fan in me. But my gut said Tom Brady, and the fact that they weren't even favored, they're essentially the home team. I mean, they're playing in their home stadium. It's Tom Brady. It's number 7 if he wins. It's 10th overall. Like, man, that's just such disrespect for a guy at his level that I could guarantee that was one of his driving factors in wanting this one so bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's enough of the big game. There was not much to discuss here. Let's go to some other fun stuff. We'll talk a little bit of the offseason here. Let's start out with the locals here, the Jets and the Giants. So start with the Giants. They had more success this year. They were a Eagles lie down away from potentially getting into the playoffs. What do you think the offseason priority is for the Giants?
For the Giants, I think it's just keep building that offensive line. I think that's number one. I also think it's very important to surround Daniel Jones with some talent and really figure it out what you're going to do with this young quarterback. Right? If you think he's the one, give him something and let him prove that he's the one. Right? If not, then maybe you start looking towards that quarterback situation. I wouldn't. All right. I would really start building the offensive line, protecting him. I think the easiest way to tell if you have a quarterback or not, give him a good offensive line that can protect him. If you're protected and you can't make the throws in the NFL while being protected, you're not going to be a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the Jets, you and I probably agree on this, is fairly just figure out what the hell you're doing at quarterback. I feel like that's got to be the priority for them.
I mean, yeah, honestly, the priority is just figure it out.
Yeah.
You have a new coach. It's a new start. You have a ton of potential to add a ton of talent, whether it be via the draft or via free agency. Like, there's no excuses at this point, right? You have an opportunity to make a play at quarterback, whether it's in the draft or via trade. You got to figure out what the future is. This is the time to figure it out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think let's have a little fun now. Let's go a little rapid fire here, because I want to use the pick music one last time this year, because it's going to be on hiatus until September after this. So you're feeling good for some rapid fire stuff on the offseason.
I am feeling good. I can't promise that I'll be right on any of it, though.
Okay, so no promises on this. We're not telling you to go bet on these.
Please don't.
No, do not. But let's have some fun. Let's get some NFL pick music in here for one final time, and we will talk about. We got to start here. We got to start with the quarterback carousel. It already started this year. Matt Stafford getting traded from the Lions to the Rams. Let's take a look here at some other guys. Where is Carson Wentz next year?
The Chicago Bears.
Overpay?
Oh, absolutely. They 100% overpay.
Yeah.
I mean, and also I could see them taking Wentz and then still stink, and they'll still stink. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Jameis Winston, where is he playing?
I think he leaves New Orleans and they ride with Taysom Hill. I could maybe see Jameis in like a Washington situation backing up Alex Smith.
Interesting. What about Jimmy G? I'm sure he's getting moved. Where do you think he's going?
I think he's going back to where he belongs in New England with Bill Belichick.
I think that one makes a lot of sense. I think strongly about that as well. Sam Darnold, is he still on the Jets or is he somewhere else?
Personally, I think the Jets should keep him. I don't think they will, which is why I believe he ends up in a place like Pittsburgh and eventually replacing Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I think he's a goner too once they get the right price. I think my spot for him is Indianapolis. I know they loved him during the draft process. I think that's a spot he lands.
Yeah, I think I could see that too. That's a good one.
Is Deshaun Watson traded, yes or no?
Yes.
Where?
To the New York Jets. Here is your opportunity for the Jets to rewrite your franchise. You know what it's going to take. You make the move. This is franchise changing right here. You can't mess this one up.
Yeah, I think the only question for me is if the Texans move him and what kind of trade it is. Because for me, it's like if it's pick based, the Jets can't be top because they have number 2. They have extra picks they can deal from. But if it's player based, they're in trouble.
I think it'll be heavily pick based.
Yeah. Was that what
you don't often see players getting moved.
Yeah, that's also true. We will see what happens there. Where is Allen Robinson signing? He's the best free agent receiver on the board.
Allen Robinson ends up wherever Deshaun Watson ends up, in my opinion, and I say the New York Jets.
I would sign for that right now.
I think you should. Why not?
I think if he's not a Jet and Watson stays put, I think he's going to Indy. That's my other prediction.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. The draft now. Are we having the virtual draft number 2, or are we actually having some people go to Cleveland?
I think we're going to have a mixed mode draft. Potentially mostly virtual, but there will be some in-person components.
I could see that. Maybe, day 1 in Cleveland, then days 2 and 3 virtually.
Yeah, I think that's the safe bet.
Yeah, and they'll probably limit the crowds and wear masks and all that good stuff.
Of course, I'd hope.
All right, so if the Jets don't end up trading for Deshaun Watson, they're picking at 2. What are they doing?
So, do they have Watson or not?
No, they couldn't make the trade.
Then they draft a quarterback.
Do you have an idea which one? I feel like I thought they would lean towards Zach Wilson.
I think they lean Zach Wilson. I don't think Zach Wilson is the guy, though, that you want to draft.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Zach Wilson. Now, if they trade for Deshaun Watson, they sign Allen Robinson, I keep building.
Yeah.
And I add Devontae Smith, and you got a powerful offense.
Yeah, well, if they trade for Deshaun Watson, that 2 pick is not there. They're probably picking either late first or early second.
Of course. With that being said, though, even if they don't trade for Watson, I really still take a close look at Devontae Smith. I think Sam Darnold still needs an opportunity. Will it happen? Probably not. If they don't trade, they're going for a quarterback.
Yeah. About the Giants picking at number 11 here. Where do you think they're going?
I think they stay offensive line. I think they take the big boy out of Oregon and Sewell, and they work from there.
I think he's gone by that point. I think you're looking at whichever receiver makes it to the Giants' 11 is the one they take.
Potentially. I've seen a lot of mock drafts that have them potentially getting a tight end. I think that would be a monumental mistake.
Kyle Pitts is special, though, and Evan Engram is not superstar material.
Let me tell you, if you're picking a tight end that early, he better be like Travis Kelce or better.
Yeah. Do we have preseason games next season, yes or no?
I hope so. I mean, listen, I hate preseason, but it felt so weird not having it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping by, maybe you don't have 4, but you have 2 at least.
I think we're getting the 3 in the 17-game schedule. That's my call.
I hope you're right.
And give me a sleeper team or 2 for next season. Somebody who is a little under the radar, did not make the playoffs, possibly could have a bigger year next year.
All right, so this one didn't make the playoffs. LA Chargers. I think Justin Herbert definitely looked the part. He's a potential franchise quarterback. He looked great. And as long as you have that first piece, the quarterback, that's the most important piece. Obviously, they need some help on the offensive line, but if they can address that, I think this team can make some noise. They have a lot of talented players on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, that's a good one. You stole that right out from under me. I was going to take the Chargers, but I'll stay in the state. I'll go with the 49ers. I feel like they just had so much bad luck with the injuries last year. They got to be healthier, and when they were healthy last year, they went to the Super Bowl. So give me the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what that quarterback situation is.
Yeah, I'm expecting them to try and get an upgrade there. But even still, Jimmy G was very good the year in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, for sure. And in terms of a playoff team, that could be even better. If the Colts figure out the quarterback situation, watch out.
Yeah, that's true. I do love their chance that they can get that quarterback room figured out. But that's a good spot to sort of get ready for the offseason. I think it was a good run this year in the Super Bowl. And props to the NFL for managing to get all the games in without one cancellation for COVID.
I'm just already depressed that, I got to wait how long until the next football game?
Probably after Labor Day.
It's just way too far.
Real ones, not a preseason. I think you have to wait till August.
I mean, sign me up. I've been diving into the mock draft since the Packers have exited the playoffs. So I need my football fix. I can't help it.
Yeah, I can't either. Especially as I'm probably shifting into college basketball mode soon. But even then, trying to get into the tournament without all these COVID issues is a mess.
Yeah, and it's going to be so weird when some teams play 20 games and some teams play 12. It's just a disaster. But March Madness is a fun time.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Joe, thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, people find on social media some of the stuff you're up to.
All right, yeah, Mike, of course. First, anytime, you could always count on me. Just give me a follow on Twitter at Joe _.
Don't forget the double.
Do not forget the double, DALOISIO. And my podcast, Sharp Cheddar Podcast, is available on all podcast platforms. Just search Sharp Cheddar Podcast.
Yeah, I saw you had Sonny. We had John Destremski back-to-back weeks. I had him on my podcast. You had him on yours.
JJ is a very good buddy of mine. Love having him on the podcast. He brings the energy. He knows the game, and he knows the lines. And if you listen to him on the podcast, you would have won a lot of good money. Yeah,
JJ talked to me about some betting. I think week before. He has some good advice in there.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. He knows what he's talking about. So if you don't follow JJ, get on board.
Yeah, you got to get on board. Joe, thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it.
Mike, anytime you have my number, I look forward to chatting with you again next season.
Yeah, probably talk to you around the draft too as well, but you always do that.
Hey, you know I'm available.
Yeah. One more thing. What was your favorite commercial in Super Bowl yesterday?
Honestly, geez, man, that was tough. I thought the commercials were weak.
They were pretty bad.
Did you say they were pretty bad or they weren't?
They were.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think I like the State Farm commercial with Drake.
Yeah, that was good. I'll play my favorite before we go into the next segment here where we do the pop culture halftime show Super Bowl commercial recap with Sandro. It's another tradition of this post-Super Bowl episode. Right after my favorite, which was the Tide commercial with Jason Alexander's sweatshirt. That was my favorite.
Very good one also. Underrated, I thought.